And start seated. So if you have something to sit on, put it underneath your pelvis. I just saw that comment. Hi, Jess. All right. So roll your tush out from underneath your sits bone so you can really feel yourself perched right on top. And then the true base of your pelvis is really grounded down through your block into the mat, into the earth. And if you even just imagine a couple triangles in your pelvis. So from your two sits bones forward to your pubic bone, there's one forward facing triangle. And then from your two hip points back to your coccyx, your tailbone, there's another triangle backward facing. So where those two triangles intersect is actually your perineum, and that's the true base of the pelvis that you want to feel drawing you down like a root into the earth. And you'll have that nice curve through your lower back, as well through your neck as you sit up tall. It's on your central spit. Organize everything around that. Shoulders relaxed, head right on top, the chin parallel with the floor. Feel free to gaze to a point to help harness your focus, or close your eyes and gaze to your third eye center. That point between your eyebrows is a very meditative gaze. It can really support you in becoming present, into letting extraneous thoughts go, so that you can be in your body and in your breath in this moment in time on the mat. Just breathe deeply from your abdomen into all sides of the body. So you're breathing from the center of yourself into your circumference all around. From the bottom to the top and the top to the bottom. Follow the breath, trace it as it travels through you, carrying that pranic life force energy to revitalize, to invigorate, to nourish from within. In times of uncertainty, it's just so helpful to know that we always have the breath as a guiding force to help us be in the body, to help us calm the nervous system, to help us manage the mind skillfully, to help us drop into the heart space. And since I know we've all been really good about constantly washing our hands, we're going to start with Nadi Shodhana Pranayama today, which is the alternate nostril breath, helping to clear out the body's main energy channels to promote a good free flow of energy. So you'll use your right hand and curl your index and middle finger into the palm. You can also place the tips of those at your third eye if that's more comfortable for you. You use your thumb to close off your right nostril. Now, if you're left-handed, you can just flip it. So you'll be using your ring and pinky finger to close off the right side. Then inhale up through your left nostril, that lunar channel. Pinch it off at the top and hold. To exhale out through the right. Lift the thumb all the way to the bottom. And inhale up through the right side. Pinch it off at the top, feeling that expansion. And exhale out through the left. Inhale up left. You hold it at the top, and then you exhale out the other side, the right, the solar channel. Inhale right. Retain the breath at the top and exhale left. Continue on your own. You can truly hold it for as long as it feels good in your body at the top, and really take your time to let it out the opposite side. And then as well to draw it back in that same side. Another couple rounds. For that last cycle, the final exhale through your left side, so finishing on the lunar channel to find some nice calming energy to finish. Notice if you've helped to clear out the sinus cavity, if you just feel a bit more presence of mind. Two more full rounds of breath to let that pranayama settle. And bring your hands together at your heart center. And with your inhale, shoot your prayer straight up the center, out the top of the head, and like you're popping a cork. Exhale, bringing your arms down and out to the sides. And turn your palms up as you inhale, sweep back overhead, connecting your palms in prayer. Exhale it to the heart center. And let the breath guide the movement of the arms and the hands. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale, scoop, sweep, using that effort, that fire to lift. To exhale with grace, with ease, back into your own heart. Again, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, send the prayer up. Exhale, bring your hands behind you to interlace your fingers. Squeeze your shoulder blades back, and then cozy your hands over onto that left side of your waist. Keeping the chest broad, collarbones wide. You can consider your chest here the windows of the house of your body. You keep them nice and open so there's good air circulation. And for more stretch in the neck, tip your head off to that same side where you have your hands. And just breathe into whatever you feel there between the right shoulder and ear. You're definitely welcome to explore, taking your gaze down, up. Just go slowly so you're not jarring the neck. You can also play with a half circle, See how it feels to move your head over to the other side. And then back down to the original side. And then inhale, bring your head up on top of your spine. Release the hands. Inhale, sweep them up. Exhale to the heart. Inhale, pop the cork. Exhale, rain it down. And clasp your hands again with your opposite thumb on the outside. Plug the shoulders back. Keep the windows of your house nice and open. And then cozy your hands on over to that right side of the waist. And if it's available to you, really keep that connection of your palms all the way to your wrists, inner, outer, and the center of the wrist. And then tip the head off to the right. Just notice where you might be holding any reservoirs of tension. Your neck, your jaw, your face. You allow that to soften. And play with tilting your gaze downward, upward, or a semicircle. And back. Bring your head up on top of your spine. And inhale, release the arms, reach them up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Inhale, prayer to the sky. Pop the cork, exhale, rain it down. And then shift your way to a tabletop on all fours. And if you have your blocks here, excellent. You'll use them to make sure you maintain a 90-degree angle at your hip joints. So with your blocks on the high setting, you can take your two fists in between the insides of your knees to measure out your hips width. And then have the blocks flush to your thigh bones. And when you come down onto your hands, just make sure you still have contact with the blocks and that you're also not tipping them forward. Shoulders over the wrist, turn your hands in to meet the tips of your middle fingers. And that reveals to you your shoulder width distance. So you pivot on that inner wrist point to make your wrist parallel to the top edge of the mat. Nice spread through the fingers, doesn't have to be too wide. Just find your neutral table, engaging your core strength into your back as you push through your hands and a little melt through the heart, broadening of the chest. And imagine that length through the sides of the hips, the torso, the neck. It's like a nice long line parallel with the mat from the tail to the crown. Inhale, round your back up to find your cat pose. Exhale, arch it to find cow. And a few more times like this. Inhale, round. Exhale, arch. Inhale, contract. Exhale, extend. One more time. And then back to neutral, flip the wrist, rotating outward with your hands so that your fingertips will now angle back towards your blocks, towards your knees. And then imagine your elbow joints are like a little mini baseball mitt. So just a little softening, a tiny micro bend so that you're not locked in the joint, damming the waters. You want to make sure that energy, your breath can really flow from the earth through your wrists, through your elbows, your shoulders, your chest into your heart, and all the way back down. And then repeat your cat-cow. Inhale, round. Exhale, arch. few more times. Feeling your outer wrist points very grounded, cross-reference to the base knuckles of your thumbs and index fingers. And then your inner wrist to your pinky fourth finger, base knuckle joints. Center the wrist to the middle finger, base joint. When you cross-reference in that way, you should feel a nice lift, like a vacuuming of energy up through the center of the palm, through the arms, into the shoulders, and into the heart. Unflip your wrists. Put the blocks to the side toward the top of your mat. Keeping your hip and shoulder width dimensions, tuck your toes. Now, if you know you want a little bit more space for your dog, you'll walk your hands a bit forward on the mat. And then exhale, tilt your tail up as you push the earth down and forward under the hands, finding your dog pose. We'll just start by walking it out. Find some organic movement that feels really nice in your body today. Literally anything goes. Keep firing fully through your breath. Into those three parts, belly, ribs, chest, expand as you inhale. Contract as you exhale, chest, ribs, belly. So you can still feel that same cross-referencing in your hands. And those base knuckle joints, it's similar to the balls of your feet where your toes insert into your feet. It's really where you want to feel a good amount of your weight. So you're not clawing your fingertips into the mat so much. You're not collapsed into your outer wrists. You're really grounded. Solid roots. And take a look back at your ankles and take out any wrinkles or creases from the frets of the ankles by lifting your heels a little bit. And you can still have that energy of yearning them downward toward the mat without rounding your tail down and back toward the earth. So keep your pelvis really elevated, like you're trying to pour the top of the pelvic bowl down through your spine, through your arms and hands into the mat. And feel the connection of the pelvis and the ribs, so like on the same plane. Inner thighs spiral back, armpits wrap into the heart. We'll take a few more breaths here. Downward facing dog. And then take your knees to the mat. Again, right underneath your hips. Start to melt your chest and your forehead all the way down. For puppy pose, you can keep your toes tucked or you can extend your toes back. It's really up to you. My tendency is to go a little too far forward and get too drafty into the windows, so I like to use a block underneath the chest as like a boundary of support. So I don't go too deep and I don't go out of alignment. So you'd be welcome to find that as well. And to make it more active, really extend your arms all the way to your wrists, mount on your fingertips, and find that external wrap of your arms and your shoulders. Armpits in toward the heart. Inhale to rise back up. Make your way onto your feet. Standing forward bend. So again here, you'll have your two fists right at the center of the inner arches of the feet, helping you measure out hips width. So the outer edges of your feet are parallel. Your big toes just slightly turned in, so really right between your second and your third toe is what's angling straight forward. You should have a nice long line coming all the way up through your leg bones into your hips, right over your heels. And you're welcome to have your blocks here under your hands or take it to the mat and just play with rocking your weight forward, back, forward, back. And then what's your tendency? Where do you usually tend to land in your feet? Most people tend to sink back into the heels because the heels represent the past. It's what we know. It's our comfort zone, let's say. So really the challenge is to find center, the arches of the feet, present moment, and then even to accelerate a bit more forward into the balls of the feet, which is the future, which is really where we're going and what we're looking toward. In halfway lift, inhale, extend the spine forward. Draw your core muscles in, your ribs in if you tend to overexpand. And if you tend to be, again, a little bit more tight in the backs of your legs and your lower back, bend your knees more and send your sits bones right behind you. Like, it feels like you're sticking your butt out, but you're actually really bringing yourself into a nice alignment of a half lift. And then broaden your collarbones, keeping your gaze downward, maybe just slightly forward. And you're looking out to what's ahead, what's out there for me. Let the heart look out. Big inhale. Exhale to forward bend. Twice more, inhale, half lift. Send the inner thighs back. Imagine you could stretch your mat apart or even rip it in half lengthwise as you isometrically press down and out through your feet like you're scrubbing outward. And exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale one more time to halfway lift. Take one of your blocks underneath your heart center. You can play with the height that feels good in your body. You can also have those fingertips to the mat. Just make sure you're keeping lots of nice length. And again, that you're not sinking back into your heels. You're really staying right on top of your center. Bring your left hand to your sacrum. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend your right knee forward. So that's gonna bring the left hip back off of its 9 o'clock position, more let's say to like 8 or 7. And then twist your spine. And notice if you're leaning way back away from your center, rather wrap in toward your central spit. From the base of the pelvis or the top of the head, that long line you were organizing your posture around in the beginning seat. Twist around that, lean into it. A few more full breaths. Bringing your head cross-referenced, right between the shoulders. Right shoulder to the upper outer left eye and the left shoulder to the upper outer right eye. Where does that X mark the spot in the center? That's the line your head is on, the center of your palate, your third eye. One more full breath. Inhale, unwind to release and switch. So from your half lift, plug your feet down like plug in a socket. Take your right hand to your sacrum. Deep breath in. Exhale, bend the left knee forward. Wrap your outer right hip back to about 4 or 5 o'clock. And start to twist. Rotate the spine to the right. Maintain your breath. Gaze can be down, straight to the side, or up, as long as you're cross-referenced and you're nice and even there between your shoulders. A couple more full breaths from the belly. Make sure it's three-dimensional so you can really feel your breath traveling into your low back, into your kidney band, which are like the toilets of the body as a house, so just really helping you to eliminate what you don't need. And keep the waters flowing. Good plumbing. Breathe into those kidneys. Inhale to unwind and fold. Inhale, extend forward through half lift. Bring your hands to your hips and come all the way up to stand. Finding your mountain pose. Release your palms, flip your wrists open. Notice how that translates into nice open collarbones, which really helps bring the lungs into the front of the body. You can really take a good quality breath. Chin parallel with the floor. Just take a moment to feel your feet on the earth. The top of your head lifting toward the sky. And just you right here, right now, center of the universe. And all of us together connected. And then bring your hands to your heart center. Open your palms. This, I like to call this a bird or butterfly mudra. I'm not sure if that's the official name, but that's what it looks like. So just hook your thumbs. And usually the point of any bind, right, is to make a connection, but then to also feel the tension pulling apart once you make the connection. So that's really what makes binds more effective, is that if you put some active muscle energy into it. So hook your thumbs and then pull your hands apart. From there, inhale, reach your arms all the way up. And then let your shoulders lift a little bit. Rotate the armpits into the heart, send the inner thighs back. Feel the weight in your feet, nice and balanced. Inhale, extend. And exhale, go over to your left side. Keep pulling your hands apart. And then once you feel like you've found your edge here, you pick that left heel up off the mat and bend the knee forward. It's like you're on a demi-point. And then take it a little bit deeper. Move all that left side of the chest up. Remember, your heart is looking out. What is out there for me? And inhale, take it up. Switch which thumb is in front. Inhale, lift, lengthen, extend. Exhale, side bend it over to your right. First, you're just going to tap into your edge while the right side of your chest revolves open. Keep your pelvis neutral if it's on a clock. Right and left hip are at 3 and 9, pubic bone 12, coccyx 6. Now pick up your right heel, bend the knee forward and take it over a little deeper. One more full breath. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, take your arms down to your sides. Roll your shoulders one time. Inhale, reach the arms back up. Exhale, bend your elbows out to the sides, goalpost arms, 90-degree bends at the elbows. Keep your pelvis centered. Inhale, and exhale, twist to the left. So when you keep your hips neutral and on the clock, you'll notice that mainly that twist really comes from your mid-back, your upper back. Keep your third eye above your navel. That's a good way to also know that your head is on the spit. Drawing that right hip back. And then inhale, unwind, reach up. Exhale, cactus your elbows again to the sides. Feel your shoulder blades in their sockets behind the heart. So you're really retracting back there, hugging inward. And then twist to your right. Keeping the firm foundation of your feet, your legs, your pelvis. Left hip back. Keep it squared. Let's take 2 more breaths here to twist. And inhale to unwind. Reach up. Exhale, forward bend. Come forward in space. Accelerate. Inhale, take a half lift. Extend your spine. Exhale to forward bend. Catch opposite elbows with your hands. This is the ragdoll variation. We get the assistance of gravity when we're upside down like this to frame the head with the arms like a window or a door frame. So let yourself sway or take a little bounce for a few more breaths. You're in your ragdoll hang, Uttanasana. Shift more weight into the balls of the feet. Bend your knees and start to pull your elbows forward. Find that natural fit of your elbows right into the center, soft, juicy part of the palm. And if X marks the spot in the center of your back, from right hip up to left shoulder and left hip up to right shoulder, can you soften that part down to your spine and then project your heart more forward through your elbows, your sits bones back. And draw your ribs in, find that connection to your core, especially if you know you're a little more back bendy. Keep bending the knees, keep accelerating into the balls of the feet. Pull your elbows forward and up so you're more upright in your chair pose. Keep your chin off of your chest so you don't get dizzy. Lots of space for the thyroid gland there in the throat to function optimally. Just sit a little deeper, lift up a little higher. And then continue to pull your elbows forward as you rise. And then at the very top, make sure the knees are not locked out, that you have a little bit of a micro bend so you can stay strong. Portals open to go up, over, and back, getting that nice high vista of what's ahead. Into your vision. Keep the pelvis on the clock, 2 more breaths. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, bend your knees. And pull it forward, forward, forward as you come back through that parallel position. You know you're feeling those shoulders, it's good. And then all the way down, ragdoll. Release your hands. Inhale, extend to half lift, long spine. And exhale, step your left leg back to a lunge. So I'm going to stay here for a few breaths. Hips on the clock. A nice long line from the left heel through the top of the head. Feel your muscle energy turning on to support the structure of your lunge. And then where can you ease some tension where you might not need it, such as in the toes, around the neck, the jaw, the face. Maybe even the fingertips can loosen up a bit. 2 more breaths. Now from here, take your back foot a little more to the left side, so you're widening your stance to draw the heel in and down to about 45 degrees. So when you look at your feet, your heels are still hips width distance, like you're on railroad tracks. And then you have plenty of space to inner rotate the back thigh and bring the outer left hip forward to its 9 o'clock position. Right hip at 3. Inhale, rise and reach up to warrior 1. Stack your front knee over your ankle. And feel the connection in your body with your awareness through your breath. Pull that inner left heel up to the right sit bone. And that inner right heel to the left sit bone. And the outer left heel to the outer right hip. And the outer right heel to the outer left hip. And then feel like you could stretch your mat apart underneath your feet as you lift. Find a little more depth. Keep squeezing in and upwards, even as you press down and out. And that dynamic energy, even in your static isometric hold, Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale, re-extend through your right leg. Exhale, lunge again, warrior 1. Twice more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hold and bring your hands down to your blocks or to the earth. Find a little more extension through your front legs so you're approaching your pyramid posture. It doesn't have to get 100% straight. More important is that you're balanced in the weight in your feet and that your spine is staying nice and long as well. So rather than rounding and hunching and curling your tailbone underneath you like a scared dog, let's avoid that. Keep that length. Walk your hands forward. Frame your ears with your upper arms. And we're trying to soften that sea of forgiveness where we hold all our memories and our past wounds in the mid-back, from the right hip to the left shoulder and the left hip to the right shoulder. And you find some softening there, a little more openness around your heart space. Even as you forward bend, to get a nice stretch in the back of your right thigh and hip. Take 2 more breaths here in pyramid. Inhale, extend your spine and bring your blocks back to frame your front foot, coming into a lunge. So the options for you here are to inhale, step left foot forward, and then immediately step the right leg back, and then continue that. Or you can use a little bit more fire and a little more spring to jump switch. Bend your back knee, so there's your spring. Press into the blocks. Inhale. Land at the same time, front and back. Inhale. Keep going. You're gonna feel your heart rate ticking up with this. Few more. Land with your left foot in front. Lunge. And settle back into your breath. Just to calm everything back down, ground it into the earth. Nice squeeze through the back of your right leg and hip. And what's out there for me? Looking ahead. A little more weight into the ball of the front foot. For 2. We'll bring your back foot a little wider. 45 degrees, so heel in and down flat. Wrap your inner right thigh back. Put your hips on the clock again. To come up for Virabhadrasana 1. Inhale. Warrior. Definitely a stamina pose, building of endurance. Keep your eyes steady to a point. Press down and out, hug in and up. And continue to breathe into your circumference from the center of yourself all the way out in all directions. And exhale back into that center. Relax any gripping in your toes. You can even soften a bit in your hands. It can be definitely an expression of vibrancy there through the hand. It doesn't have to be like too intense. So no jazz hands, please. Two more breaths. Power center is lit right above the navel. You can see that color yellow. Beaming up, powering up. Inhale, extend. Exhale, re-lunge. 2 more. Keep your back, outer right heel plugged down. Remember, you're cross-referencing that to your outer left hip. Hold, Vira 1. And then outer left heel to outer right hip. Exhale, hands down. Lengthen through your front leg, only as much as needed. To keep your hips on the clock, to keep a nice open heart. Preventing as much as possible any hunching through your low mid back, which we do already plenty when we're seated, when we're looking at a screen. You know, we've all been doing that a lot lately. So try not to repeat that in your yoga practice. Remember, your yoga practice is your housekeeping. It's where you unwind all those unhelpful patterns and habits and tendencies. And even just notice if you're like overly exerting, if you're working too hard, or if you're not working hard enough, can you find that nice balance, that equilibrium? That's the sattva, what's true and what's real. What's radiant, what's balanced. Sattvic. Two more breaths. Inhale, extend your sternum forward to 12. Bring your hands and your blocks back, return to the lunge. So you can either step forward, take the opposite leg back, or you can work that switch. It's a little bit more of cardio, a little more fire. Bend your back knee to help you get springy, and inhale, switch. And try to land lightly on your feet. It's not a big thump. Try to land like a dancer. Balancing effort with grace. For 3, 1, lunge, plant your palms, step back to downward dog. Inhale forward to plank pose. Do your measurements once again, real quick. Bring your knees down. Turn your hands in, meet the tips of your middle fingers. And then flip your hands forward. Shoulders over wrists. You can say you're modified or full high plank. Heels over the balls of the feet. Flip one wrist back, followed by the other. Unflip, unflip. Keep doing that. Remember, you can do this modified. You could even do it in tabletop. Keep flipping and unflipping. Keep your pelvis as steady and centered as you can. Inner thighs up, tail back. Pubis forward. Remember your 12 and your 6 o'clock there. You can go a little faster. 5. No thumping, keep it light. 1 more. Exhale to down dog. Still with your hips width there between your feet. Measure the length of 1 foot as you turn it in. And that's your hip distance. And from here, inhale, step your right foot forward to a lunge and pivot yourself to the side. So you're in wide-legged forward bend. Parallel feet, make sure the toes are lined up. Inhale, extend your heart forward, bring your hands to your hips. Where's that present moment? Arches of the feet. Inhale, rise all the way up. And take a breath. Turn your right heel in and your toes out. So again, you still here have your heel to heel alignment for triangle pose. Equilateral triangle between the legs. Inhale, reach the arms out. Parallel with your mat. Inhale, reach forward. Going off to your right. And then exhale to tilt. You've got a couple options here. You can rest lightly on your shin. Do make sure that you're not collapsing down. So this posture is not about how low to the earth can you get. It's really about how can you maintain the sacred geometric pose and also keep both sides of your body nice and long and lifted. So I like to use a block. You can use it on the front of the shin or on the back. Inner rotate the back thigh, outer rotate the front thigh, but continue to press into the big right toe ball mound Cross-reference to the outer heel. Pinky toe ball mound to the inner heel. And then can you find a little more of a revolution? Chest up. Again, let that heart lift in that right side of the chest. Try to follow it. Without losing your core connection, without losing your breath. And bring this top left arm, internally rotate it so the thumb's going forward and then back, palm toward the wall behind you. Bring the hand either to the sacrum or the forearm across your lower back, so you're in a half bind. Take your gaze down and get ready to shift your weight into your front foot. Bend the knee, accelerate forward, and lift off. Once you do lift off, I'm gonna make sure I stay in the frame by stepping back a little bit. The block is underneath your right shoulder. So truly, if you look down to your bottom pinky toe, your block is ahead of that and then just slightly to the right. So you have this nice stack still of your body. As you balance in half moon, flex your left toes to the side. And then a little more softness through your right knee, so you're not stuck in that outer heel. So negotiating the balance, breath to breath. It's like you mediate the present moment at your heart between your back, your past, and your front, your future. Lift your gaze for the challenge. A couple more breaths. Into the tops of the lungs, right into the collarbones. And then very gently lower back down. Come back to the wide angled forward bend. Inhale there to lengthen your spine, half lift. Exhale, bend forward. Hands to hips, inhale, rise. Left side, Trikonasana. So check in with your foundation. So vital to the sustainability of the pose. It's just really how you started up from the very beginning. Inhale, reach. And tilt. Keep that nice length through that whole bottom side. So you're not collapsing, you're not dumping your weight into your joints. You're using your strength to stay lifted. And let that heart sing up and out. How's your breath doing? Can you feel the connection, the tethering of your right sit bone to your left frontal hip point? And then your left sit bone to your right frontal hip point. Notice how that really keeps your pelvis centered and balanced. It's really the same cross-referencing you did from your left shoulder to your upper outer right eye, your right shoulder to your upper outer left eye. It's keeping you on the spit. Couple more breaths. And turn your top shoulder and arm inward. Bend the elbow, hand to the sacrum or a half bind with the forearm across the lower back. Gaze down and lunge into your left knee so you can spring yourself forward to find your half moon pose. Anchor into the big left toe, ball mound. Cross-reference that to your outer heel. Pinky toe to the inner heel. X marks the spot in the center. Lift up through the arch, the leg, into the hip. And then radiate that energy out through your torso, your head, Keep your lifted leg really active, toes flexed back toward you. Imagine you could press it flush into a wall. Again, be sure you're not locking your bottom knee out. A few more breaths here in Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. Can you get a little lighter in your bottom hand? And then very slowly come back down. Same transition to the wide angled forward bend. Inhale to extend. Exhale to bend. Bring your hands to your hips to inhale, rise up. And then heel toe your feet together. That was not a really very good heel toe, but oh my goodness, the time. Where does it go when I'm doing these live streams? Now you all know how slow I really practice when I'm by myself. That's why my practices take like 90 minutes to 120 minutes. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, forward bend. Inhale, take a half lift. And exhale, bring your hands down to turn your feet out. Give yourself some extra space so you can squat. Into Malasana. Open heart. Hands together in prayer. And put a block underneath your hips if you want a little something to rest into, so you don't have to effort or struggle too much. And then at the same time in this posture, just show it from the side. Can you use your strength to keep that engagement and lift? And even bring back some of that curve into your lower back. So it's not about rounding, contracting. It's really about opening and expanding. Like your pelvis is a ship, buoyant on top of the water. So creating plenty of space for that fire at the pilot light at the base of the pelvis, an open channel, an open source for that heat to rise, and for any extra heavy waters to evaporate in that basement of the body. Feel free to stay right here. If you want to get some action balancing on your hands, put your palms down. Make sure you've got that shoulder width distance again. Lift your hips up, turn your toes forward. Cross-referencing the weight in your hands like you did in the very first down dog. Lift your heels. Bend your knees into your armpits. It's a natural fit for your body. And shift your weight forward. Play with 1 or 2 feet lifting off to take flight into crow. Big toes connected, heels up to the sits bones. Keep breathing. Where can you find the ease within this effort? And where can you maybe amp up a little more strength where you're neglecting? Of course, I have to restart my Instagram live once again. So you can play with crow a little more, Facebook, or you can take your standing forward fold. Sorry, Instagram peeps. Okay. So it is 1 o'clock. We are going to wind this down. Bring yourself to a seat. And after that invigorating crow, let's notice the contrast here when you're just simply seated. You invite your eyes to close. Notice the difference an hour of practice makes through all the layers of your being, your body, your breath, energy, your mind, your emotions, your higher wisdom, your bliss, your pure consciousness. And inhale, reach the arms all the way up. To exhale, twist your spine to the left. Let's do a final rinse. Just like when you were standing, keep your hips on the clock. Inhale, unwind, reach the arms high. And exhale, twist to your right. Inhale, unwind, reach up. And exhale, bring your hands down. So we're going to start to go onto the back body. And just since it's been an hour, I don't want to go too over today. So I'm going to invite you to not look at my hair, oh my gosh. But I'm going to invite you to take any last postures, stretches, breath work, meditation, anything that you want to close this practice up. And enjoy your final rest when you get there.